Hey, recording in progress. How wonderful. So first of all, happy, happy Hoshana Raba for everyone. We had, Chodesh Tishrei is split into two parts. You have the first part, which is Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, which is under the auspices of Din, Malchus, and fear, awe. And then suddenly the system breaks off abruptly, immediately. The second Yom Kippur goes out, and it becomes an influx of Rachamim. It's the Sukkah. The Sukkah is the embrace. The Sukkah is all these wonderful things that we had in the Midbar. It protected us from the sun. The Sukkah is basically the way that we bring down, as it were, the lofty principles of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur down to the nitty-gritty of day-to-day life. And that's what we do, with the lulav, and go all the way to the bina and bringing it up to the heart. And all different kinds, and chesed and gvura and all different sides. And we're finishing it off the Yom Tov of Sukkot with a different kind of din. This is a din that is embroiled with rachamim. We all have another chance to totally undo and redo. Some people have ways of knowing what was decreed upon them. It's not an advisable thing for people to do. Besides the fact that it can be very scary, it can actually make a person's mazel worse. But nevertheless, tonight is a last chance of actually redoing everything and doing it in a fashion that will, Bezat Hashem, give us a great year. And the only thing it takes, it doesn't take Tkiyas Shofar, you have to be Yotzim and this and Yom Kippur and Tanesim and whatever. It doesn't take any of this. All it takes is just saying words. Sefer Dvarim and Dod HaMelech. Tehillim. Torah is endless. How can we ever reach Torah? How can we ever? Dod HaMelech told us how. You daven it. Whatever it is that you are, you daven it. So this is what we do tonight. We're saying words. With simple words, we're going to, Bezat Hashem, create for all of us a good chitim. Is a choisem shebechol choisem. Yom Kippur, Rabbeinu says in Terech Beis, is the choisem araglin. That's the choisem of the bris. It's the and tonight is the choisem ha'emunah. Very simple, just emunah. That's all it takes. Just emunah. Say the words. That Hashem will have a gewaldig year for all of us. So, with these words, let's get Bezrat Hashem to the Baal Shem Tov of Kolosh. So, Rabbi Yosef from Yampoli was the son of the Heilige Reb Michal Zlotchever, And once he became very sick, and he was actually dying. He was like in a coma. People think that he was dead. But 3 days later, his neshama returned, and I mean, he started sweating his neshama back to his body, and he became healthy. And he said that immediately when his neshama, this neshama actually went out, the Malach took him to one big heichal, and he saw a great basin sitting there, and he saw that they are weighing his chusim, and one Malach came and said, "What are these tefillas? What is this sorry excuse for tefillas?" And blew at it, and they're all dispersed. And the base didn't want it to be goyza chas v'chalila, is the gzadin misa. And the same day, his heilige father, Rabbi Sassover, passed away. Suddenly, his man Shalashudas, immediately, he was walking this way and that way, and he passed away. Suddenly, Rabbi Yosef heard Nishamayim, all the tzaddikim go to receive the heilige Rav, Reb Mechel Zlotcheva. And amongst them was the Baal Shem HaKadosh, who was also there. And Reb Mechel Zlotcheva saw that his son is standing before the Beis Din, and they want to judge him to death. So he asked the Baal Shem Tov to do something. So the Baal Shem Tov went before Beis Din. He says, "What do you have with Rabbi Yosef, my beloved? What do you say? That his prayer is not pure? I'm saying from now on, he's going to daven." And Rabbi Yosef started davening and davening. And his davening was so strenuous that his body started sweating in this world until he became healthy, came back to life. And with this tefillah, it was with such a huge kavanah, he also elevated all the other tefillahs that he davened before, that they were supposed to be. Rabbeinu taught us that once you do one tefillah properly, it brings up everything up. B'ezrat Hashem. Okay. Schus again Elaine, the schus of Baal Shem HaKadosh, the schus of Reb Mechel Zlotcheva, Zechet Tzadikim Livrocha, and his son will stand by us on Hoshana, Raba, B'ezrat Hashem B'apech, everything L'Tova. So this is a story that was told by the Rava Tzaddik, the Fivish from Bloshevitz. And this is what he said. He said he was Mishamash the Rebbe Melech. Zeh Tzaddik Ozlevocho, the Baal Noam Melech. And he says, now, I became old. And I became old, he says, my heilige teacher, went up to Shemaim, and I was left without a Rebbe. So I thought maybe I'll go to Sassover, to Moshe Leb Sassover. And when I started thinking, he says that the Satan also came in. He says, come on, it's not befitting a tzaddik like you, to go and after the stalkos of your heilige Rebbe. I mean, come on, to go for somebody else. I mean, who can replace the Rebbe of Melech? So he said, I understood exactly who is the one who is saying these things. And afterwards, this Macy says, listen, you're old and you're feeble, and it's freezing outside. And all the dracham cheska sakana. Let go. He says, I wouldn't listen to this either. And I went in the winter, the time of the great cold. I'm over there, very cold. And on the way, I had the suffix, maybe the Moshe Sassover was not home. Because he used to go different places for different reasons. And this suffix, caused me great anguish because I couldn't stand the freezing cold. And I thought maybe this whole thing is for naught. Maybe the tzaddik is not home. At that time, the Heilige Tzaddik Amudu D'Nho, Reb Tzvi Ziditshover, was in the place with Reb Moshe Sassover. Suddenly, his Rebbe, Reb Moshe Sassover, called him, and says, "Go home this minute." So Rabbi Tzvi Hirsch Ziditshover said, "Let me just stay until it becomes less cold." He says, "No, go now." And he went with him, and he hired a wagon, and he went from there, and he saw from far a wagon that was overturned in the snow because the roads were very bad. And this was the wagon with the Raba Tzaddik, Fivish from Bloshevitz, and because it turned over. And the old tzaddik was very downtrodden from everything that went, from him. And he sighed, and he thought, this whole thing is for naught. Vada Moshe Sassover is not going to be home. Immediately, when Tzvi saw the wagon in the snow, he jumped off to help the people. When he came, he saw who it was. Because the Fivish is in the snow. So he stood him up and gave him a shalom aleichem. And so he asked Reb Tzvi if if he sees Moshe Sassover. Moshe Sassover is at home. He said, yes, he is. So he told Reb Tzvi of everything that went with him. And Reb Tzvi told him how his Rebbe pressed him immediately to go on his way. Now they both understood why Moshe Sassover sent Reb Tzvi on his way immediately without. He understood that he knew exactly what is going on with him along the way. That's why he sent Reb Tzvi and then Reb Tzvi decided that he's going to go back to Sassover, and they came. So they said that when this tzaddik came to Sassover, he heard that there was a letter that came from Berditchev, that the Berditchev Rav was very ill, Aleinu, and the Sassover, and they asked that Moshe Sassover should daven for him, especially during dancing Shabbos Kodesh at night, should remember him. So this Pavel Bloshevitz from Bloshevitz prepared himself to be able to see what is this Indian of the dancing, Moshe Sassover. It was Shabbos Kodesh, and Moshe Sassover took brand new, very expensive shoes from Sapien. I don't know what it is. And he put them in and he started dancing. And this Rafael said that these dancing were Dvarim Shel Mala, they were Himmelsach. And every single movement had a particular Yechudim, Neiroim and Nifloim, until the house was filled with light and almost in Tapamala Shel Mala were dancing with him. And these are things that people can not even begin to understand until these things reach. Ad Kan, the Maisa, Moshe Sassover, a few more. Just allow me to open up Sichos Haran so we can get to the Rebbe's Sicha for today. Okay. Here we go. All right. We are holding in Siman 143. This is Miksad Yav Chaverim. It's Shaykh to Ter Resh Samech Gimel in the first Chelik of Likutei Moharan. He says there's two kinds of animalistic eating. Dehainu sheyesh odom she'oichel b'tava gdola k'behema. Person eats with great relish, with big taiva like a behema. And the food itself is ma'achal odom. It's a person's food. He says v'yesh, and there is such a thing that a person eats like a person. In other words, bekashrus, but the ma'achal itself is not a ma'achal adam. It wasn't refined to be a ma'achal adam. In other words, the holy sparks in them were not refined yet to be fit for a person, but only a behemoth. The behemoth, it's still on the level the behemoth needs to eat. And he says the person, either one, a person who eats like an animal from people's food, or a person eats like a person from a behemoth's food, can come into choili of kadach as a fever, high fever. It is irkafta einosh leroshenu. You have saddled a human on top of our heads. In other words, when we are in the low madrega, then that when a person is greater than him, when we eat from these two foods, azai banu be'eshem amayim. When you put the essence of being a human beyond us, then we came in fire and water, meaning kar v'cham, cold and hot. This is when a person has a fever. Even the doctors say that fever comes from this food and from that food, gashmis and ruchnis. The same thing is when a person, ubchinas das, when a person is in a level of das, so he has in him love and yira, the kedusha. And when a person falls from that, chas v'shalom, from chinas das, so he falls to a hava of a yira nefula. When a person eats one of these two foods, he falls from the das, and he therefore becomes moiser ha'adam and behema ayin. When a person eats such macholim, it's as if he is bechinas behema. He's falling from das and falls in the hava of yira nefula. And this is what's written here, kafta enoish l'roshenu. As we said, when human being is above your pay grade, as it was, then come be'eshe b'mayim, the hainu, Be'ahava v'yirafa, because Maim is ahava, and Esh, of course, is yira. This is one of the important inyanim of Sukkot, Tishrei, and Sukkot, and it all comes together in Hoshana Raba. Because the gvuras that we had in Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, these are the molds into which a person is supposed to pour the bounty of the chesed that comes during Sukkot. We all know that they said, a child you have to treat, you have to rear with nothing but love. But nothing but love means that you have to supply a child with boundaries. Because without boundaries, ahava becomes the source of averus. And yira becomes also a source of achzorius and averus. So when the yira is supposed to be the sukkah, is that thing that protects us from too much sun. That's what in the midbar, too much sun, too much ahava, too much yira. It sort of like it filtered out the overexposure of ahava, that because when the ahava becomes too much, it becomes ahava nefulo. If you see, everybody talks, whenever anybody says everything is good, there's no bad, there's just everything is good, all you need is love, when a person says that, that means that they're full of averus. Ahavas nefulos is all you need is love. On the other hand, of course, all you need is discipline. Hashem Yirachem, what comes out of it. It's totally Shvir Sakenu. So it comes from the Yin of Achila. Most of us, I know about me, this is true, that I'm far from paying attention to Achila B'Kedusha. But the people that are into Avodas Hashem seriously, by them, Achila B'Kedusha is one of the like the first thing that they do. That's the first, except by Rabbeinu. Rabbeinu said that he did the opposite. He took all the tyrus and put it all into eating. He would eat and eat and eat and eat. All the tyrus, whatever it is, anger, whatever it is, everything he put into eating. So the Samach Ben told him that if only Rabbeinu will give up a little bit from, the Kedusha, he will allow him to conquer all his titles. So Rabbeinu answered him, I'm willing to go through all the titles except for this one, except the Inyan of Kedusha. That's the one I don't want to give to you. B'ezrat Hashem, the Chag of Sukkot is actually the Chag of eating. It's called the holiday of harvest, Chag HaAsif, the Inyan of Ma'acholim. In the Sukkah, we have the 7 shepherds. What do shepherds do? They go around with their flock and they feed them. They feed them kind of food. B'ezrat Hashem, the Achila and the Ahava will be Ahava the Kedusha, and the Gvura will be Gvura the Kedusha. B'ezrat Hashem will be Zorcha tonight. The Mahapech will be the Choisam, which is Choisam etoch Choisam. Tonight is like, a very, very important treaty or a huge check, that has an incredible amount of money written on it. But if there's no signature, both documents are worthless. Tonight, we sign these documents. Determine what these documents are going to be. So Shmuel should help us. And the Chosem, the Chosem is Hashem, and the Gita Kvittel, and Chosem the Kedusha, and I bench you and me from a fantastic year, the Simcha, the Ahava, and we'll all be rid of the cold and hot and the fever and all these things which many of us who came from Uman had to go through. And Bezrat Hashem, bracha and tzlacha and gesund and alles goods, Bezrat Hashem. So have a gittel kvittel to everyone.